This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now, I am so excited that I will be talking to Sharon Sharth again. I'll be welcoming her back. I haven't had her on since November of 2018. We've been wanting to do another one for a while, and her life took an unexpected detour, which I hope to get into a little bit today. And it's going to be great. Sharon did a movie that made it all the way to the Sundance Film Festival called The Accidental Getaway Driver, and I'm so happy for her. She posted pictures. She was at the festival and everything, and I'm going to ask her about that movie and the experience and all of that stuff. And last time we talked about one of her first movies, Doorman. I finally saw it, and I was like, oh, it's a pretty good movie. Her and Bradley Whitford had great chemistry, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and talk about a couple other old stuff we didn't get to talk about. Also, I've been saying this way too often, rest in peace, Sherry Narins, the wonderful, quirky, Chicago-based improv comedian and actress that I had on last summer after 5 years of trying to connect with her. Robert Swan connected us, and she passed away a month ago, and I just found out on Saturday, and I'm so sad. She was such a great lady. We were supposed to have an unrecorded conversation and then another podcast conversation, but it'll never happen, unfortunately. She had a story about the Bengals, too, that I'll never get to hear. And I've just been so sad ever since I found out the news. Rest in peace, Sherry. Thank you so much for that interview on June 24th, 2022. So yeah, here is my new interview with Sharon Sharth. Hey Sharon, welcome back.
Tommy, I'm so sorry. It didn't ring. I'm sitting right here at my desk. It did not ring.
Oh my God, that is crazy. Yeah, it happens sometimes. This ain't the first time.
Okay, good. Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. How is it in sunny Los Angeles?
Not sunny. Not sunny.
Really?
Terribly. Oh my God, so cloudy today. June gloom, they call it. So June is often like this.
Yeah.
And it's been, over the weekend, actually, it was really sunny, but for some reason today it's all cloudy again.
Oh, wow.
And it just has been raining intermittently, which is very interesting, because that is not usually what happens out here, but anyway.
That's interesting. Yeah, I just moved up here to Modesto after 6 years in Redding, and it's pretty hot here. It's nice out,
Sunny?
Yeah, sunny.
Oh, good. You're lucky.
Yeah. The last time we talked was in November of 2018, and...
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
yes, it was.
Okay. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to having you back again in 2019, but you took an unexpected detour. What happened?
Oh, God. It was a routine surgery that the doctor let the assisting doctor do the most, finish the operation. And she severed my small intestine.
Oh,
and I went into septic shock and almost died. I was on a ventilator. Thank God UCLA came and picked me up and took me to UCLA because I was here in Arcadia at this horrible hospital where the doctor went up to my husband after I'd been there for a week on a respirator and said, she's going to die here tonight, so you need to get her out of here. The emergency room doctor said that. So anyway, my husband got me to UCLA, and they saved my life. And I was on an ECMO machine, which is, it takes all your blood out of your system to rest your heart and your lungs. Yeah. And it oxygenates everything in a little box outside your body. Mm-hmm. So I was on that for 8 weeks.
Oh my God.
And in a coma and on life support. And then it took me 2 years years. And actually that happened exactly 1 year before the pandemic shut us all down.
Yeah.
It was 2019 in March. And then, I think I got home in June of 2019, and then it took me 2 years to learn how to walk again. I couldn't walk. I was having panic attacks. It was, pretty desperate. So we figured out something, though, which nobody told us in the medical world, which is I had something called PICS, post-intensive care syndrome, which is a type of psychosis, and about 40% of the people who are in ICU get this, but nobody talks about it. So I came home unable to walk, and they were like, well, we don't know why you can't walk. Well, I didn't know. I was on oxygen. I couldn't leave the bed. I mean, it was really scary. And my poor husband had no idea, what was going to happen to me. And thank God, I came out of it really well. I'm great now, really great. I feel wonderful. And so everything's good. I went to Sundance in January.
Yes.
I had a film at Sundance, which was really exciting.
Before we
it wasn't my film, but I was in it.
Before we get to the film, I just wanted to say, I mean, I was so worried about you, and I've been in a coma, so I know what that's like. And people ask me all the time, what's it like being in a coma? I didn't really have a description of it until just recently, when I thought to myself, it's kind of like being catatonic, but with your eyes closed. Like you're conscious of your surroundings, you just can't bring yourself to function. It's like
that wasn't my experience at all.
Oh, it wasn't?
Mine was, I mean, God, you should, I was in the ICU and on this ECMO machine for all those weeks. And, my husband took pictures of me, and my eyes were open, my mouth was open. I mean, I looked like a dead person.
Oh.
And for all 8 weeks. I mean, it's really scary to, and my hair is all matted up in the back of my head. And
you're pale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, the other thing is that I was having horrible nightmares when I was in it. The doctors all say, well, you were in a coma, you didn't feel anything. And I say bullshit to that, because I was in a lot of pain, and I can't really, it was like being in a video game. A video game where I was being punched and burned, and I mean, it was unbelievably painful. And I would come, I sort of would come to the end, and I knew it was going to be the end, and I thought, okay, I have to remember to tell Mark, my husband, that it starts with his hands. His hands start at the beginning, and that's how you know it's going to start, but I know it's going to end now. And then it would take me right back to the beginning where the hands were again, and it would start over. And so I was on this loop of pain, and I just kept praying. I just kept saying, God, get me out of here, universe, whatever. And eventually I got better. So
yeah,
I'm grateful.
I am so grateful too. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a crazy thing that I had gone through too. With my car crash, it was just.
Yeah.
How were the nurses when you woke up? Because I'll tell you, the ICU nurses I had were wonderful, but the ones I had in recovery were kind of Nazis.
Everybody was really pretty great. I mean, I love UCLA now. I won't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
UCLA Medical Center. That's where I'm going, no matter what, because they saved my life. And P.S., Tommy, get this. Mm-hmm. I'm in a coma. It's Easter weekend, 2019, and my husband has gone to 2 hospitals because his chest hurts. Oh. Now I'm in a coma, and he's going to 2 other hospitals, and they sent him home. Said, no, you're fine. Did all these tests, sent him home. Mm-hmm. He came in to see me, and my doctor said to him, Mark, how are you feeling? And Mark said, my chest is about to explode, and he said, get down to the emergency room. Took him right in, and he had a quadruple bypass.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? I mean, what if I'd woken up and he wasn't here anymore?
I know. Oh God, that would have been just awful.
Oh, man.
It seems like
No.
he was having a very deadly sympathy pain.
Well, I think it was a little more than that, but yeah. So they saved his life too, and then he was in the ICU room right next to mine, and he would come over every day with his little, the little pole, all his IVs and everything.
Yeah.
He'd walk over to my room and hold my hand and talk to me while I was totally out, and he did that every day. Oh God. It was really something. And I'll tell you, though, what got me well. I think that it's all the people who thought about me and loved me and maybe said a prayer or maybe just, came to visit me. People who I barely knew came to visit me at the hospital when I was out. I didn't know they were there or anything, but I think that saved my life.
Well, I think it did, too. It's God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. But you've made a quantum leap in your career since with this film that went to Sundance. So how did you get this part? Did you know the director?
No, nothing. Just a regular audition. My agent called. I did the audition and I got it. And it was fantastic experience because my director won Best Director at Sundance, so Sing J. Lee, and he was just amazing. And the film, I don't know when it's coming out because what I heard. Now I don't know how current all this is because I haven't talked to them in a little while, but the last I heard. It was Sony Pictures that had picked up the movie worldwide, so it's going to get a worldwide release, and they were still dealing with the American release, so I'm not sure where things stand now or when it's coming out, but it's a beautiful film. It's a true story. Do you know the story?
No, I don't.
You want to know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's a story about this little Korean man, about 70-something years old. And actually, the man who played the part is 80. But anyway, and he's in his pajamas, and he does, drives, not a cab, but kind of like Uber or Lyft, right? And he drives his car and does that for a living. And he's already in his pajamas, and he doesn't want to go out, but he gets call and they're Korean people and the guy says, it's me and my two friends, come pick us up, and so eventually they talk him into it and he goes and picks them up and then he starts driving them around. And turns out these are three men who just escaped from prison and have very dark pasts. And it's really about whether or not this man is going to get away from these guys.
Right.
And it's, the acting is just amazing. And Singh was the writer, along with, I don't have his name in front of me, but another man who wrote it with him. And it's just beautifully put together, and I'm really proud of it. And I play the motel manager where they stay, and I might be able to save him. But that's all I'm telling you.
That's so cool. Yeah. So, the Sundance Film Festival doesn't just, accept anybody who enters their film. I mean, it had to have been a long, hard consideration.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And it's, K Period is the production company, K Period and Thunder Road. So, they're the people that put it together, and it's a beautiful film. And a lot of it is in Korean.
Nice.
So it's, it's a beautiful film. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Is it going to be available anywhere?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping pretty soon, but I don't know yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have worldwide distribution now, but I don't know what the deal is for America.
Did
but I'm sure it'll be out. It's too good not to be out.
Yeah. So how was the whole experience at the festival? I mean, did you get to see a lot of movies and meet famous people or anything?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. No, I didn't meet. Did I meet famous people?
Like Robert Redford, was he there?
I did not see Robert Redford, no. But it was such a good time. And I actually, I've been in this business a long time, and all I could think of was, how come I've never been here before? I mean, there are parties everywhere. Everybody wants to meet everybody. It's just really fun. And we brought our dog. I have a Great Pyrenees mountain dog. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I drove to Sundance with our dog. And during my movie, he stayed in the truck. And then as soon as we got out of the movie, right there was a dog park. Mm-hmm. So he just went right to the dog park, which was full of snow. And he's never seen snow. So that was a lot of fun for all of us.
Oh.
I mean, he's a huge dog. He's, oh God, I don't even know how big he is now. He's been eating a lot lately, so he's supposed to be about 130 by the time he is completely grown, but he's almost 3 now.
Oh.
So, he's not quite that big yet, but he's working on it.
Oh, that is just so awesome. Last time we talked, we talked about one of your first movies, Doorman, because I hadn't seen it at the time, and I saw it recently on YouTube. And
you did not?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean I could find it on YouTube?
Yeah, of course.
I don't think I've ever seen the final version.
Really? You didn't see a screening of it when it was done?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
Well, I thought that you and Bradley Whitford had great chemistry. You two reminded me of Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn in those Jewel Thief movies.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, like, even though you two are trying to solve a case, it was just like those kind of movies,
Yeah.
And Gary Youngman, who directed it, he directed a romantic comedy years before I liked called Rush It with Tom Berenger and Judy Kahn, who I just interviewed a few months ago. And I thought it was a cool little movie. But I'll tell you, the box cover of the VHS that I saw is a little misleading. It makes it look like it's going to be a horror movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So did you just look under Doorman?
Yeah, because I was just like, I still have not seen that movie, and I'm still intrigued by it, so I just typed in Doorman 1986, and it came up.
Wow, cool. Oh, God, Tommy, thanks. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. And I'm good friends with Brad. I mean, I haven't seen him in a little while now, but I adore him. And I'd love to see it. Wow, that's great.
I remember, too, you told me last time that Gary had wanted you to be naked, but you refused to do it. But overall, it was a fun experience making the movie, right?
Yeah, it was great working with Brad. But, we never got paid, ultimately, for that. I mean, we got paid.
I don't doubt it. A lot of those low budget movies, people have told me they didn't get paid on, and
it's so infuriating.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
and
a lot.
I didn't think to call the union until too late. The time had already passed, and they said, well, it's too late for us to do anything now. So we never got. We got paid something, but we didn't get paid what we were promised.
Yeah, a lot of those low-budget horror movies, they didn't pay, and horror fans get so mad about the actors, charging so much money at conventions to meet them and stuff. And I was like, they didn't get paid for these movies back in the '80s. This is payback for all of that,
right. That's right. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, sadly, and inflation has just made it worse. With COVID and everything. But thank
God we have a union. That's what the union's for. I mean, that will never happen to me again, because that was in the 80s. You know, that would never happen to me again, because I have the union behind me.
Yeah, that strike going on too, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. I'm on the picket lines once a week.
Oh, you have?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
I support the Writers Guild, and we're going to be out there. You know, June 30th, our contract is up, the actors' contract. So I'll be out there even more in July.
Has it been intense over there, and just, you know, has there been any worry or anything?
Worry by whom?
By, like, like, how should I say this? Like, like that there's going to be something, like something dangerous happening, arrests or any of that stuff?
No, I haven't heard anything like that, although I do have a very good friend, Gina Gold, who is now co-executive producer on NCIS.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't start work yet because of the strike, and so she's miserable. But anyway, other than that, I mean, let's see. Are people? I guess it will depend. If the producers don't get back to the table with the Writers Guild people, you know, I mean, they're not even at the table, so there's nothing happening, which is very upsetting. And I think they're just I think they're wrong. I think that there's really no way that they can go forward without the writers. And thank God the Writers Guild is so strong. Mm-hmm. And I am so grateful that they're doing it ahead of us, because, you know, frankly, SAG-AFTRA is not as strong as the Writers Guild. And I think with the Writers Guild with us, in you know, if both of us go on strike, and I was hoping the directors would go on strike too, but of course they made a deal, and I hope that the deal was good enough. But we really need the deal. I mean, I'm getting residual checks for like 14 cents from streaming stuff. And I have friends who, like, their stuff is streaming now, and they're making, you know, $2. I mean, these checks are coming in with 85 cents, 13 cents. Oh, God, it's crazy. Yeah. So anyway, it needs to happen, and let's just hope they understand. You know, God, they make so much money, and we're struggling. Right. I mean, the writers and actors are, and probably the directors too, I don't know. We're struggling, and it's not fair. It's not right.
Absolutely.
Because what happens if there's no writer and if there's no actor, right?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
I hope it gets resolved fast. I really do. You know, the '88 strike was pretty bad. A lot of productions had to go to Canada or Atlanta or anywhere else. Joe Dante filmed The Burbs during the strike in L.A., and I've heard him say in interviews it was pretty crazy. They had to be careful with where they filmed that, because there could have been, there could have been groups of people picketing anywhere there.
Right.
Yeah. I saw a couple other things on YouTube that you did. You were on this short-lived horror anthology series called Monsters.
Yes, that was fun. Tom Noonan. Yeah.
Tom Noonan, the wonderfully eccentric character actor, directed, and he wrote this episode. Yeah. And the episode's called The Bargain. You work with Kim Greist, who I thought was so talented. I thought she was going to be an Academy Award winner someday. Yeah,
she was great. Yeah, I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, she disappeared. I don't think anybody knows what happened to her. But yeah, I remember she was in Throw Mama from the Train and Punchline and lots of good movies. And yeah, so you had to have a makeup job in this episode.
Yes, major.
Yeah, how long did it take?
Fun. I don't remember that, so long ago. I was living in New York City then, in Manhattan, and that's where we shot it. Her name is, I just want to say one thing, Kim Grice.
Yes.
Is how you say it, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember how long the makeup took. I guess I must have gone in for a what do you call it? You know how they do make a mask of you?
Yes, it's like a molding or something.
First.
Yeah.
I must have done that, but I don't remember really. I just remember how fun it was, that I was so concerned about my look, and I had that horrible face. Remember? I mean, it was like this, my face was so awful looking, but I was powdering it and putting on my lipstick and making sure I looked good. So that was really fun. I loved that.
And any closer, you could have been Ron Perlman on Beauty and the Beast.
Thanks.
I just looked and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did they do to beautiful Sharon?
Yeah, it was fun.
Did you get to meet George Romero or Michael Gornick?
No.
Yeah.
Are they in charge? Are they producers?
Because they had done Tales from the Dark Side years before. This show was pretty much the same anthology show, the same type of stories and all of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And I saw something else you did. I kind of remember this show a little bit, but not too much. It was Nightstand.
Oh, Nightstand.
The Timothy Stack.
Yeah. Nightstand. I think I got out of the business just after that. I mean, it was just after that I, I'm pretty sure I told you this. You know how I got hit in the jaw?
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. Actually, I got hit in the jaw. That was my first job in Los Angeles after moving here from New York. It was on stage at the Old Globe Theater, and my good friend Mark Harlick accidentally slammed my jaw, and it went across my face and was dislocated. And thank God it was a Sunday night, and I came back up to LA and had it put in place every Monday, and just was taking a lot of Advil. But basically the doctors said, you need to find another career because, you're a singer, you can't sing anymore. They kept telling me that it would freeze, either closed or open.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that happen, so let us get in there, but you'll lose all the muscles on this side of your face. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. So I got out of the business and started writing children's books, and wrote 16 children's books that have all been published with different publishers.
Of course.
And then I started writing a play, of course, and I had to be in the play, and so I got back in after a while. But I had to have braces, and they had to keep putting it back in place. So, that was my story. I have heard, though, that if your jaw is dislocated, they can fix it right away. Somebody just told me that the other day.
Huh.
And I was like, well, nobody said that to me. It was a really long process for me.
Well, I think the technology has advanced since then.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. You're right. Because that was, 90s? Mm-hmm. Mid-90s, yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway, Nightstand. Bob Buse. You know Bob? He was the sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a friend.
Oh, you played a sidekick medium named Anastasia, and I was cracking up just at all the body sexual double entendres, and that's my humor and stuff. But I was just cracking up the way Timothy Stack plays that daytime talk show host, satirizing people like Jerry Springer and stuff.
Yeah.
And I interviewed.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to be Marianne Williamson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was sort of what I was based on.
Yeah, I interviewed Timothy's brother Patrick last year. He was a comedy partner with Nathan Lane in their early careers.
I know. I've met him.
Yeah.
I met him at my friend Steve Rodman, who's married to Kathy Baker.
Uh-huh.
And they had a party a couple of years ago, and he was there. And I wasn't sure if he was Tim or Patrick.
Yeah, they look very similar.
No, it's Patrick.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Yeah.
Is it true that, and this is something that goes back a long way too, is it true that you were hanging out with Timothy Busfield the night that he came up with that sound that Poindexter makes in Revenge of the Nerds, that ah?
I don't think so. At least I don't remember.
He said something like that on the DVD commentary. Him and his brother were hanging out with you, and something happened, and then that ah came out of something, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Wow, where did he say this? What was the
on the DVD commentary track for Revenge of the Nerds?
Oh God, Vengeance of the Nerds. I've never seen it. Vengeance of the Nerds. Okay, I have to go see that.
Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds. It's a very politically incorrect comedy that you couldn't make today, but it's hilarious.
When did it come out?
1984. You're
amazing about this stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm friends with the lead girl in the movie. She's been on here many times, and
yeah.
It's a very funny movie. John Goodman is in it. He plays the villain. That was like one of his first movies.
Oh, he's great. I love him. Yeah.
Everything he does, he's brilliant in.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
We need to put out a petition to get Eat and Run on Blu-ray. We really do.
Oh, God. Okay, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, or at least sell it to one of the streaming networks. I don't think Netflix would take a low budget movie like that, but there needs to be like a low budget like Grindhouse streaming network, and they should put Eat and Run on there.
Well, Tommy, that might be your next move.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? I actually saw I guess Mine the other day at a convention, who just started the Nostalgic Network, where they're going to be showing like old black and white creature feature movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe that would be a next move for me, like a Grindhouse streaming network. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that is an idea. So what's the status of your memoir?
Because
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll tell you, right now it's at a standstill because every time, so I'll just tell you that what we were doing, we were writing a book about what happened to me in 2019, because nobody knows about this post-intensive care syndrome, and people need to know about that. I had doctors saying, you should be walking. We don't know why you're not walking.
Uh-huh.
And you know how bad that makes a person feel? Because I could not walk. I could not get up. I mean, it was not in my head. I couldn't do it. And, the panic attacks, and I was seeing people who weren't there and talking to people in the room that weren't there. I mean, it's pretty serious. And this happens to 40% of the people who come out of ICU. So my husband and I thought that it was really important to write about this, so that people know what to do, because he had to do so much research while he's taking care of me and trying to heal from his own heart issues. So anyway, we know all the information now, but whenever we've tried to write, we've got a lot of pages, but the thing is that whenever we sit down to really work on it, I end up, either one or the other of us ends up in bed. We just, from depression. I mean, it's just still so sore, I mean, if I hear a beep, like that, a beep, I run. And I've heard it on television a few times, and in movies, they'll have the hospital in the bed, the hospital is there, and I'll hear that sound, and I run, because that's what I remember when I was in pain, in all that, in the pain, in the coma.
Oh.
And that sound, when I first heard it, I think I was walking already by that time, so it was probably a year after I'd come out of the hospital, and Mark showed me a clip of me lying there in the coma, and all of a sudden, beep, beep, and I ran into the other room and started crying. I mean, it's such a, it's still just too raw. So it's nowhere at the moment, but I mean, I really think we have to get back to it. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. I started writing mine 2 years ago, and I started putting stuff down that I had never even told friends before. That just made me cry, and so now I'm just trying to get the confidence to go back and redo a lot of stuff too, because I put a lot of stuff in there that I didn't like the way it was formatted and stuff, and
Right.
I gotta get that together too eventually. It takes, it's a tedious process to write a memoir or write any book for that matter, but once you do it, it can be rewarding. Do you have any other children's books in you that you want to write?
No, I'm done with the children's books. I mean, it was really fun, and I love having them to give people. When people have kids, I give them my children's books. But no, I'm done with that. I mean, I just really feel like my function right now is I'm an actor. This is what I'm here for, and I mean, I do have a book that I've worked on, but I think it's a young adult novel. Did I tell you about that?
No.
It has not been published, but it's a young adult novel about a 16-year-old girl who, she's 17, senior in high school, and wants to commit suicide. So it's her struggle and how she comes out of it. And so I have that, but I think that it needs to be either, I don't know, a play or a web. I'm just not sure what it needs to be, but I've been working on that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other upcoming projects you're working on?
No, not yet. I mean, especially while the writer's strike's on, I think everything's pretty much closed down. So until it all gets figured out,
Yeah, the strike is the project right now.
The strike, yes, that's right. I'm on the picket line, and that's what I'm doing.
You gotta bring your camping chairs and everything and your signs.
No, I don't need to sit down.
Oh yeah.
No. We just keep walking. I carry the SAG-AFTRA sign that says I support WGA, and the thing I love is whenever I go by a picket line, I beat my horn, and I'm always so surprised that nobody else is beeping their horn. At least not when I'm going by. But then when I walk the picket line, we start talking. I'm talking to my friends while I'm walking, and people will be beeping, and I'll go, oh, they're beeping, and then you want to acknowledge that they're beeping.
Yeah.
Because that means they're on our side. So, anyway.
So real quick, we gotta play my secret silly game. This is a series of silly slumber party questions. No win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on answers because they might be funny.
Okay.
Okay, Sharon, are you ticklish?
Yes. Are you ticklish?
Oh, yes. But if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Okay, good to know.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It's an innie.
Nice.
Is yours?
Yes.
In or out?
I have an innie. Yeah, I have an innie. What color are your toenails painted?
Pearly white.
Nice.
How about you? Do you have your toenails painted?
I do. They are light purple right now.
Okay. Did you do it yourself or did you go somewhere?
I started doing them myself about 12 years ago because it got to a point where it started getting expensive to get them professionally done. But I started painting them when I was 13.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is purple your favorite color? Why do you have purple?
It's one of my favorite colors. I like to go bright. I like blue. I like white French tip. I like just a plain clear polish sometimes, which was the last color I had before this. And, colors like that. I'll tell you, black does not look good on my toenails. I don't do a black, and I have a couple
I don't
times.
like black either. I have never worn black. I don't like how it looks on my hands or feet.
My mom, of all people, said, don't use that color. What would you say is your best personality trait?
Kindness?
You're very kind, Sharon.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. What's yours?
I have empathy and I have no filter.
Is that a good thing?
I think it is.
Okay. For some people, it's not.
Yeah.
So for some people, they hurt people's feelings with it. But
well, I always try to give people closure when I have to be blunt, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings either. But I have to do what's comfortable for me and give them closure about it, And, of course.
Give me an example. Can you give me an example?
Okay. Let's say if I was to do an acting project and I was going to cast somebody in it, right?
Right.
And somebody wanted a part of somebody really badly, and I had to tell them that they can't get the part, right? I would be the guy to say, you do not get that part. However, you have an option with these other parts over here, stuff like that. I try to give the person closure.
I see. Well, that's nice. I mean, any actor would be happy about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Well, I would say vomit.
That's a popular one.
Okay, how about you?
Either farts or feet.
Oh, God. I just saw a play at the Geffen Playhouse the other night.
Yeah.
The Mountaintop.
Yeah.
Well, do you know it?
I've heard of it.
About Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah.
And I only mention it because there's this whole thing about how his feet stink.
Oh, yeah?
And it's really funny. Anyway, they've done a beautiful job with it at the Geffen.
I
don't know how long it's running, but God, these two actors were amazing.
I never knew that about Dr. King.
I wonder if it's true. It may not be true. We don't know.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, I didn't want to know that. Wow, that is interesting. Yeah. Oh, I heard recently that Dr. King went to Motown and asked if he could, put out an album recording of his civil rights speech, because he thought that Motown was bringing people together, whites and blacks with pop music, the same way that he was trying to bring whites and blacks together, through civil rights.
Yes.
That is a wonderful thing.
Great idea.
Yeah, that is a wonderful thing to hear. I loved hearing that. Smokey Robinson said that.
Who did? Who said that?
Smokey Robinson.
Oh, wow.
Sharon, thank you so much for coming back on. And
Tommy, my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're feeling better and that you survived that all. And I hope your husband's health is good as well now.
Yes, we're both doing really well. Thank you.
That is so awesome. So be careful during the strike, and may God be with you, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Tommy. You too.
Thank you.
Take good care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Sharon Sharth. Ain't she a sweetheart? I just love her. She's got such a great personality, and she's so damn talented as a writer and actress. And I hope this strike comes to a head, and I hope she'll be okay out there. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.